think in many ways, the case method has defined the institution, and we've really shaped it in a really productive and powerful way for the rest of the world. The case method for me is just central to everything I think about pedagogically, and it manifests all my instincts about what pedagogy should be, which is interactive, which should be based on curiosity and real-world problems. It also, I think, can be really fun. Those moments of situational levity that arise in a case discussion are like magic. The real power of it is when you walk into a room and you're getting ready to teach and you feel that little buzz and excitement in the room. I think that's its most important contribution, to make classrooms vibrant in a way that they wouldn't be otherwise. You know, as an economist, writing a case about the Tulsa Massacre is not necessarily what one would expect it to be doing. But I think for the problem I wanted to explore, this was the vehicle. So the Tulsa Massacre and the call for reparations case really tries to do a couple of different things. First, it tries to highlight this remarkable historic injustice, a horrific incident from American history where several hundred people were killed through the actions of the state and private actors. Remarkable property damage, remarkable loss of life. But then it contemporizes that historic incident by pivoting to Regina Goodwin, a woman who is both a descendant of those victims and an Oklahoma legislator trying to figure out ways to get justice for what happened. But the other interesting thing about the case, of course, is just to think about Tulsa in 1920. And Tulsa was the home of what was called back then Black Wall Street. Part of the virtues of this multimedia case is you bring alive what is just a remarkably vibrant Black community. And then, of course, that only makes the loss of it all the more trenchant. It takes a very specific historic moment and I think gives it its due, which it had not received in many accounts of American history, but then uses it as the basis to think about, I think, one of the most vexing questions we have, which is what do you do to address historic injustice? You know, the striking part when I teach this case is people read it and realize, you know, this is just like some comparable example in their own countries. This feels just like the comfort women in Japan, or this feels like the desaparecidos in Argentina, or this feels like the caste system in India. I'm kind of proud of that because the American issue with race is singular and distinctive. But then it also allows people to make connections with their own experiences. And then finally, you know, the real virtue of the case, and we've never done this before, is we made it publicly available to anybody so that educators from anywhere can use it for whatever purpose they want. And so I really want this, in some sense, to become a dominant pedagogic device for teaching this material and for stimulating discussions about reparations. If this gets taught in schools around the country and around the world, that's the real lasting legacy of the case. During 100 years, a lot of things have changed. And yet, the underlying technology of the case method has been just remarkably resilient. And the reason for that is it accomplishes something that it is very hard to do otherwise, which is to put these folks in the minds of a real-world situation, thinking hard about trade-offs in a world that they don't know what the right thing to do is. And that is just something that can't be reproduced in many other ways.